Welcome back, sleepers. I'm SS Cannon, and here we are with what should be the final episode. It's 3 times I think I said this now, but we have one last part. Chapter Purge in the 3-part, kind of like DLC. I have no idea. I don't believe there's any DLC after this, but even if there is, I think I'm gonna stop here. I don't think there's much else for us to do here on the eye, and I'm kind of looking forward to what's to come next. But let's see if we're able to stop this somewhat parasitic code that's been running through, apparently destroying whole, moons, technically worlds, habitat areas, in which has followed all the way from the core to here. And if we're going to be able to hopefully save the eye from whatever it is, because I guess it seems like if we don't, it's going to close down all the varying systems that are needed for anyone to survive here. And if we aren't able to save the people here on the eye, then everything that we've gone through from the beginning when we first arrived here, Drago's setting us up in that empty container for us working all the way through, understanding the Harden incident, Yadigan and Rabia and the actual seediness that was really behind all of that, us working with Bliss and Ankita, and just everything that we've done here to finally make something of ourselves. All the people that we've held and everything, if we can't stop it from spreading and destroying the eye, then we're gonna lose everything that we've built. So let's get into it. And I guess we should start the next chapter here. I skipped the cycle just to get where we need to be. I don't know how things are gonna go. These are not bad. These are not bad. Peak. Sleeper. Peak is waiting for you in the corridor. It's time. Peak looks pale and disheveled, with heavy marks under his eyes and strands of hair sticking to their face. I'm ready. Whatever it is, I'm ready. Right? Because this has to be solved. Peak holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. All the data I've compiled in the Flux event, the effects on the wave and the structures that hide within it, is on here. You look at the tiny drive, a casket of dark secrets. I've noted it to the best of my ability. Anyone should be able to understand the threat, the potential it is. Peak sighs. It makes for grim reading. Without intervention, the eye will suffer a cascading collapse of systems, just like the colonies of Ember Moons. Intervention? Peak says. I'm still working on it. Peak looks at the drive. This shadow in the flux, this protocol, is so hard to pin down. It adapts to any countermeasure I've tried to deploy. It's like trying to hold water in a cage. It slips straight through. I mean, it has to be a way. I guess no one's probably figured it out. Everyone just thinks it's the initial flux. They didn't know about the underlying protocol within it that's adapting everything. They just thought the flux knocked everything out. They thought it was at its core but there was something more to it. So yeah, no one's looked into it, so there's gotta be a way, man. Piccolo has his hand around the drive. We need this, Sleeper. This is about everyone on the station. We have to set up a meeting to tell someone who can do something about all this. Here's the thing, I don't think Soul has the capabilities. Soul is also set on packing everything up and leaving to keep trying to outrun it instead of trying to deal with it so that they don't have to run anymore. Elaine actually has investment here, right? Being part of Havenage, like they're gonna want it. They're gonna want this taken care of, So Elaine's probably the best bet for actually trying to do something. And Soul will probably not hedge his bets to trying to figure it out. He's more trying to get people to safety, so it'd be more of a back burner for him. So I think he'd be the best. Perhaps. If anyone can protect the eye, it's Havenage. But their internal politics will make it hard for them to act. Yeah, it's like it's hard to listen. Half of them don't even want anything to do with the flotilla. Or perhaps we've been thinking about this all wrong. Peak sighs, Clint. Why make a choice when we can tell both of them? Why pick a side when the only side in the entire thing is one we all need to take? Yeah, there's merit in telling both sides, seeing that it is a universal problem. Ember has the experience, having dealt with the repercussions of the flux, and Havenage might have the actual technology and capability to deal with it, but yeah, both sides, I'm fine with that. We need to resist this together or we will fail. We need everyone on board, Sleeper. You know, this is the only way. We send the data to both. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think both sides needs to understand that it's more than just what it is. All right, and then this could help sort of quiet the people that are against the flotilla joining the varying refugees, and could spread to actually them coming together. It would be good or good. They look away. Another flux event is coming. I'm sure of it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure we can survive without help. Pig opens their hands and holds the drive out. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. You know Sol, you know Helena. They trust you. To them, I'm just another spacer, but you're a part of this place. I don't know if they trust me because Helena technically knows that I did the run, even though I guess she might be fine with it since we didn't get caught. Hearing someone else say it hits you hard. You're part of the eye. Peek's right, but right now that feels more like a weakness than a strength. I had to set up a data relay in the cordon. It's neutral ground. Take the data and send it out to Havenage and the flotilla. Once they receive it, they will come. We can be sure of that. You'll meet them there and take them through it all. No one could do a better job. They tug a strand of hand behind their ear. You know, I've been doing so much for the eye, I guess it makes sense that it has to be me. Pig tenderly puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Sleeper. I know this is hard, but we have to move forward. We can't keep this to ourselves anymore. They step back, looking thin and pale in the harsh station light. Come talk to me once it's done, and they slip away into the eye. What? Ah, here it is. The cordon. Once you send the data, absolute purge will, and the final series of events of the eye will begin. Out of this point, you will not be able to return to complete other drives or find other endings. Make sure you're ready. Well, I have no other drives. No more endings. I have enough to survive another day, so I don't need to get food. Once you sense, no going back. Our die aren't bad. Our die are not bad. There's like there's two, probably 3 sixes. Right, because there's only one thing that we don't have +2 on. So it's most likely it, and then we'll reroll these. Hopefully, at least get some 3s. At least that's a 50-50. But the data sent, the only thing to do is wait. As you do, you imagine Helena receiving the data, perhaps in the middle of some Havenage council meeting. You think of her trembling hands as she slips out of the room to read it. Her reaction, you can't predict. You imagine Sol too, one of his crew finding him in the corner of the Pilgrim Seed, overseeing the modifications that will turn into an arc. The sharp eyes scanning the data, looking for a way to proceed. The weight draws out, and to pass the time you watch the activity beyond the edge of the eye. The scrap shuttles pulling components from the new abandoned cordon, and the supply skiffs making runs between the flotilla ships. It isn't long before you hear the chirping of one of Helena's now familiar drones approaching the viewing platform, and then Helene herself strides into the room. Where did you get this, Sleeper? Helene holds up a slate, scrolling with streams of flux data as she enters. I need to know your source. I get this is not a time for pleasantries? So, a friend. You seem to have a lot of friends, Sleeper. I do a lot of work, so a lot of people are like, cool with me. I say, Helena raises an eyebrow, but I need this data authenticated. I can't just. She pauses and pushes her hair back out of her face. This is a lot to take in. A shadow protocol inside the flux, the system's cane channel starting up, a total klutz of the eye. She rubs her forehead. If I bring this to the council, they'll everything is pointed that they're too focused on their internals right now to put any of that kind of stuff down. So no, they're most likely ignore him. So yeah. She turns back to face you, her expression dark. Do you know what has been happening with Havenage, Sleeper? She looks away at the flotilla. Since the refugee ships started arriving, things have changed. It's chaos. No one can settle on a single issue. There's division at every vote, but in division only one group prospers, the hardliners. Because as each counselor gets tired of the arguments, get tired of compromise, they become more attracted to the easy answers. The flotilla is to blame. The refugees are opportunists. The eye must be defended. She shakes her head. And now you're telling me they brought something to the eye that will cause its collapse. I mean, they didn't bring it. It would have hit. It was like, right, it would have hit here regardless because it's just coming out, right? So it would have eventually hit it. So they didn't technically bring it. It was like, but it's easy to blame them since it's like, well, it was something that happened at your area, and now you're here, and now it's here, even though it would have gotten here regardless. It doesn't matter, Sleeper. This is all the counselors were here. She closes her eyes, a hand to her temple. Many of them already presumed that the refugees are somehow to blame. Did someone say refugees? Soul clanks into the docking bay, grinning at the situation. Speaking of the devil, and well, here I am. His suit hisses as he settles on his cane. Elena glances between the two of you, uncertain if she had been drawn to some elaborate plan. Soul holds out a hand to her. Soul, he nods. I believe we've spoken remotely while the cordon was still up. I sent both of you the data. So alas. Well, thank you. He raises an eyebrow. Evidence of our mutual inevitable destruction is not much of an olive branch, but I'll take it. I'm not Havenage, Helena blurts out, then cries out. What I mean to say is, no one person represents Havenage. That's the idea. I did not support the cordon, and I did not support your quarantine. Soul nods. Well then. Anyone mind if I get myself up to speed here? He was, but you get the feeling he isn't expecting an answer. 1. The flux events. The very same destabilizing waves that collapsed the colonies on the moons of Ember have reached the station. 1 stubby. 2. According to the data Sleeper provided, these events are acting as a cover for some kind of intrusive protocol which is causing the real damage. Second figure joins first. And 3. The Shadow Protocol will do the very same thing it did to Ember Song, Step, and Herf, and quickly. In short, they'll shut down everything keeping this place alive. Third finger. Alright. I'm a little ahead of the game. Oh my god, there's a 4. And this is my favorite. We have no idea who or what is doing this and why. Soul's final finger joins the other 3. Is that about the total of it? I mean, there's also another one coming. Of course there is. Sounds intimidating. I turned to Soul. Did you manage to put up any kind of resistance on Ember Herf? Soul said, that's why we're here. The Pilgrim Sea was the biggest ship to make it out unscathed. He pauses. I suppose we didn't have the data. We didn't have this data. We didn't know what was eating up the systems. We all thought it was just the flux. Helena looks at you, and I imagine you, Lemur, and whoever helped you uncover this might be able to figure out a countermeasure. I'm not gonna lie, right now, I don't know. Helena glances away. That's okay. We can try. Right? Because if we fail, the eye is gone. I mean, I should have left on the horizon side. If you'll forgive me, Soul cuts in. Part of why I was able to save as many as I could on Ember Herf was that I gave up hope early. These are endless strategy meetings, system reboots, tests, and trials, but I just got on with working on the Pilgrim Seed, with getting people on board. So when the second and the third and the rest of the Flex events hit, we were ready to go. So if I can offer you some advice, Miss Not Havenage, is to give up on that line of thought you have, that hope, and to start evacuation now. Right this cycle. Soul looks out of the observation deck towards the Pilgrim Seed. I've already started the process of converting the remaining volume of the Pilgrim Seed for human habitation. With Havanage's resources, I dare say we could finish the job with time to spare. Soul scratches his beard. I know it's hard, and I know it's sudden, but I have to give up hope. We have to run. There'll be no heroes here, just those that keep living and those that don't. Helena listens in silence, making calculations. She looks out to the bulk of the Pilgrim Seed, which, despite all its vastness, is dwarfed by the eye as a whole. Something flickers in her eyes. She opens her mouth to speak. She stops. Frozen. Let me think. I need a moment. Helena paces, and as you watch her, you realize how young she is, and how lost she is in the system and protocol she has to navigate. You can almost see the strings and ties that bind her, glinting like webs in the wide space of the observation platform. We purge. Because purge, Helena starts pacing. But with what resources? The data you sent me, this thing is a shadow, uncontrollable, untraceable. Perhaps with the full contingents of the Havenage system departments, but that would require hundreds of work orders to be overlooked, maintenance schedules abandoned. She looks away. Getting that through the council, would that even be possible? She glances at Soul, who is patiently waiting, patiently listening. I'd do it without him. Hey, I have done so much shit that probably couldn't have been done, but somehow we did it. I mean, we took out, the hunter, right, the killer. We somehow survived Ethan. We somehow exposed Hardin. It was just me and Fang. We've done so much shit. I think we just working endlessly. We put the right people together. I think me, Peak, Fang, the 3 of us already. I even think Oh boy, Caster. I think Caster could help. He has a wealth of varying knowledge and stuff. He might be able to get some information. Very, like, he's very resourceful. I think he'd be done. Impossible. I say, hey, we'll do it ourselves. You're like, oh no, we can't do it ourselves. We gotta force him. We gotta force him to listen. Force him to act. You both jump as someone loudly clears their throat nearby. Your eyes jump to the dark entry where Helene emerged from just minutes ago. Kemp, hardline. Oh, counselor. What a cozy little meeting this is. A man sits from the shadows, dressed in the same style of having its over as Helena. And I must say, that is some very incendiary rhetoric you're using, Counselor Helene. You glance at Helene and her face drops immediately. Kemp, she curses under her breath. Soul should just wait on his cane, but otherwise remain still, like a casual observer. Plotting against Havenage with an interloper, and gestures that so everyone would be so disappointed. Kent smiles a bright smile. Some of the counselors have had high hopes for our youngest member. A smile drowse. I, of course, never let novelty distract from the importance of experience. Landslide stares daggers at him. Enough of this petty shit, Kemp. You need to see this. She holds out her slave outstretched arm. The games are over. No more point scoring, no more lobbying. You and your hardliners need to stop. This is something real. Kemp calmly takes a slate and prods the screen, scrolling through the flex data. His face betrays nothing, but you can see some complex calculations flickering in his sharp eyes. Kemp lowers his slate slowly and smiles at Helena. And what do you think this shows? Helena, don't play games. You can read. The Flex is a carrier signal from Shadow Protocol, most likely corporate in nature. Maybe it's Solomon's re-emerging to claim their station. Maybe it's a takeover. But either way, the station is under threat. You're right about that. But the rest? Conjecture. And runs his shin. What we have is a virus in our system, which emerged precisely when the flotilla arrived. In fact, it times it perfectly with the mysterious events that freed them. So what I see is a hostile cyber warfare attack initiated by dissidents that fled Ember Moon and are committing terrorist attacks on their own soil. Hence, face darkens. That's the order of the facts, nothing more and nothing less. Facts I'll be happy to present to the council. Kent tightens his grip on the slate. Alas, you think that this only copy of the data, you sanctimonious shit? No, I don't. But who do you think they'll listen to, Elena? Especially after I tell everyone about this little clandestine meeting. You couldn't win power by having its systems by our laws, so you resort to this. Kim shakes his hand. The law is with me. It's as simple as that. He gestures and out the shadows too, having its security officers appear. No need for that, Soul suddenly speaks up. His silence had meant Kemp had stopped paying attention to him, but now you notice he has backup on his own. A group of his crew stand on the edge of the room. They're carrying long, boxy guns. You've never seen anything like them on the eye. Glossy XPR logos and these are Esh's guns. Oh, Kim freezes, and the officers hesitate, holding back at the doorway. Be careful there, outsider. He said, kill me and Havenage will never forget. Soul waves his hand at him. No one's killing anyone, so let's calm down. He'll scratch his beard. But I am going to have to ask you to leave. Helena glances at him, and he gives her a gentle nod. And you'll leave your colleagues here with me, Harrison. We haven't finished our conversation. Kim laughs and shakes his head. You're finished, Helena. The council will never allow you back after this. Then he turns and walks out in the observation deck, taking his officers with him. You all pause to catch your breath. Helena looks ready to collapse. Soul flexes inside his suit, nodding at his crew to check that Kemp is fully retreated. Soul arranges part of his suit back into place, grimacing. Your friends leave a lot to be desired. He shoots a glance at Helena. Seems like support for evacuation might be a hard ass. Yeah, they're not helping. Helena doesn't respond. She stares out at the pilgrim seat once more, trying to process what's in front of her. She sighs and turns back to you both. I won't call for an evacuation. She looks at Soul. Maybe that is a fatal mistake, but I can't do it. I get it. I want to fight for the eye. But I won't block it either. If people want to leave, Havenage will let them. That is what I'll propose to the council, she sighs. If they let me speak. Kim's trying to get you all the council, so you gotta do what you can. Alright? You gotta prepare for the worst, right? So in the odd chance that we aren't able to actually stop the protocol, you gotta get people out. Soul's quiet. He scratches his beard. Good luck, he offers to the departing Helena, but she does not respond. He lands on his cane. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. None of this changes anything for me. The broken seed will be going in a handful of cycles, whether Havenage wants it or not. And how long? Honestly, as soon as we're ready. I'm not eager to run down the clock to the last cycle. Soul puts a hand on your shoulder. There's a birth fund for you, and for any you can gather, Sleeper. That much I owe you. Hey. He's like, there's a place for you if you need to go. Hey, thanks. I can do everything I can. My crew will take me from here. Don't you worry. Soul straightens up. Oh, and thank you, Sleeper, for sending the data. I appreciate the extra info, and I'll see if it can help us shore out the Pilgrim Seed against any future Flux events. If we had you back on Ember Hearth... He pauses, starting to lose his appetite for discussing the past. Soul sighs. Of course, we're gonna need all the help we can get. If you can spare some time, come to the Pilgrim Seed. Help me get it ready. Bring others. There's a future to be earned here, cycle by cycle. We'll be leaving as soon as we're able. If you want to help us get there faster, well, you'll be welcome. He meets your eye. Soul grimaces. Well, he pauses. Just don't keep me waiting. And he leans off towards his waiting crew. You pause for a moment to let your thoughts catch up. People want to hear about all this. They should be your first port of call. New drive. Evacuate the eye. The hotel is leaving anyone who wishes to join him, but they'll need help if they want to leave before the flux hits. Yep. Pilgrim Seed. Getting it ready for the eye. Alright. But I understand, right? It's, it's safe to evacuate, right? To make sure, because you don't know if we're going to actually be able to stop this. So making sure that we're ready to go if we can't, especially it. And then, maybe we do stop it, but they leave. But that means that they hopefully won't have to worry too much. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside as Esh, lugging a massive crate across the cargo boy, pushes past you, grunting an apology as he does. Right. So, remember when we met all those cycles ago and then all this shit started? Esh sniffs and doesn't look back. As you turn back to the bay, Peak pushes past you. Sorry, Sleeper. Just a second. Peak rushes to catch up with Esh. Put that down, please, Esh. But she doesn't respond to their urging. We can't leave. Not yet. Peak puts a hand on her shoulder. Please, I'm the only one here who can. The crate drops, the sound of its impact echoing through the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peak? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We're running, Peak. We're running because this thing cannot be stopped. It couldn't be stopped at XPR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can, Ash. We can give these people a chance, Peak pleads with her. Like they give the refugees a chance? He shakes her head. No, Peak, this is not on us. We barely made it out of XPR. I worked for years to escape, and now you want to throw it all away? I left everything behind. My mother, my friends, to take you out of that place. She cleanses her jaw. She turns and slams her onto the crate. Boom, head. We go. That's the end of it. Peak turns away. You feel unsure what to do. But now it's not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. Peak crosses the bay back towards you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper. They sigh. Let's talk upstairs. Peak leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up on the bay of the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs, the signs of a home. Here, sit. Peak gestures to the broad mess table that was curved couches that you slide in on one side. Peak sits opposite. They brush their hair out of their eyes and take a deep breath. So, how'd it go? What'd they say? I've been waiting all second. Well, this is what happens now. Nervous is saying Helene says she'll support your efforts to find a countermeasure for the shuttle protocol. Okay. That sounds good. Much better than I was hoping, but what about the council? Are they behind that, or will they shout for their own? Oh, they're not on board. They are very much not on board. Peak looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the hardline counselor, Kemp's son parents. Damn. Then Helene's going to have a problem. It looks like we won't be able to count on anything for Habitage. What stopped Kim from arresting her? Oh, I found the guns? Peak rolls is like, of course, those are the guns S managed to smuggle through to the refugees. The one she didn't tell us about, Peak says. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? He's just standing quietly in the doorway listening. You don't know how long she's been there for. Peak looks at the entire end. Slipper found the weapons you smuggled for XPR. Ash freezes. She glances between you and Peak as if this might be some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Ash moves on the doorway and enters his room. What happened? Peak interrupts. Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as a threat. That's all. Good. You get the feeling that she knows Peak will not approve. Peak goes to speak and then decides not to take the bait. He glances at you. I'm sure you've heard enough of us arguing the cycle, Sleeper. Yes. Peak shoots a look at Ash, but our introduction of those weapons and the equation are just another reason why we cannot simply run away. Ash looks away but says nothing. She surely knows they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here, so what is motivating her? You realize that she still might be trying to protect Peak, even from themselves. Suddenly a shrill beeping fills the room, and Peak pulls out their slate to silence it. But as you do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen. The beeping continues in an instant pulse. Yeah, what is it? Peak doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with glazed eyes at the slate, then they let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping sets off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Ash looks at Peak, planning to explain? 12 cycles. Peak looks vaguely up to them. 12 cycles to the next flux event. They shake their head. I've been using the arrays of the bride to look towards the center of the system, to approximately where the Kane channel should be. Just this moment, they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of previous flux events, we have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles. That's it. Before a second wave hits and this place. Peak interrupts your thoughts. We start now. That's the end of it. Peak stands up to face Ash. You want to take the bridle and run, Ash? That's on you, but I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper. For every cycle it takes, trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild inspiration flickering there. We will find something. The sooner we have the plan, the better. If it takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing, it'll be too late. Peak's eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate and pass it to you, so we can keep in touch. You pocket a thin, handheld terminal. And Ash. Peak starts, but she's gone, storming down the corridor of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know from experience that it is impossible to outrun your fears, but you get a sense of Ash will try anyway. Peak rolls her red eyes, staring after Ash. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering in their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? And you slip from the room in the corridor. Peak's quiet sobs somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. Fucking 12 cycles? Protect the eye. We have 12 cycles before it gets here. Climbing the run. Desperate plan. Peak is tirelessly analyzing the flux data and testing countermeasures. They need your help. 1, 2, 3. 3 die. Okay, good. I have exactly 3 die. To help plan stuff out. And we get a little cryo. The cryo doesn't matter right now. Surprisingly, the cryo isn't everything right now. We got a plan. Alright. Peak beckons you over to the wild mess table that already set up a terminal. The hours of blear-eyed work have been left you both drained, and Peak looks ready to collapse. You slide into the curved couch beside them, something dark and malevolent filling their screen on the oil stain. I'm kind of sick of looking at this fucking thing. And look again. Peak's eyes seem to glitter in the screen. This isn't what you think, Sleeper. Not by a long shot. You look again at the screen, leaning in close to the dark curved shape to see its texture. You see whirls and currents like a river, a dark flow unlike the Shadow Protocol's dark tango. You know exactly what this is. You swam in this. You swam? I guess I'd say so swam. Yeah. In this river, almost drowned in the shifting flow, is the Gardener's chorus, the dark cloud which blankets the Greenway network, the bioorganic morass of the malfunctioning protocol grown vast and strange. The Gardener. Pete glances at you. How do you... They pause. Have you met them? I have. Peak shakes their head. Incredible. Then perhaps you won't be surprised by what I'm about to propose. Peak meets your eye. Everything I have tried to do and contain the Shadow Protocol has been a failure. It slips through the containment, absorbs in countermeasures that, unfortunately, an unavoidable fact. And yet, the eye still spins. The Shadow Protocol is being slowed, partially contained. It is spread across the station as we've seen, but in reduced pockets and fragments. So I started to look outside for test cases. Outside of these fragments, we have been poking and prodding in our little lab. Peak smiles, and look what I found. Peak taps a key on the terminal, and you realize the screen is showing a recording of the data flow inside the eye's networks, sampled from hundreds of points around the Greenway. You watch as a subtle shift occurs at the edge of the flowing dark curve and the blankets the Greenway. Something spreading like an ink stain, somehow darker than black, it bleeds across the Shadow Protocol. Now watch. Peak eagerly points at the screen. You see something strange, a fizzing at the edge of the shadow, a sparking, and then it is gone. And beneath it for a moment, a millisecond, you see into the networks of the Greenway. You're reminded of an image you had forgotten, of pulling a plant from its pot and seeing a bone white root ball where you expected to see dark soil. The white connection writhed like worms, and then it's gone, a dark flow closing up as quickly as it opens. What did I just see? Hope. wrapped up in something terrible. You think back to your meeting with the gardener, to that sense of something old in the world and unhuman to its core. Pig excitedly starts to explain. This is the only chance we have, the only countermeasure we have seen. In the moment it opened, I detected something, a centralized intelligence in the local ID gardener. The protocol, this system, whatever it is, can protect its networks from the Shadow Protocol. But if it stays in the Greenway, the eye will still fail. The station systems were too exposed, too spread around the hub, the shipyard, the spokes. The only way is to break it open, to spread the entity's network access, to access it, expand it, and somehow he wants to let the gardener into the entirety of the eye, so not just in the Greenway, but to spread itself to all of it to be able to protect the eye as a whole. I mean, it could do that. How's Neovin? I don't know what Neovin gonna feel about that. I guess you don't technically have to join the masses. Like, I didn't join the masses, and you can kind of be cohabited with it, but I've been there. Pete pauses, trying to read your instructions. And this gardener, can they help us? You try to remember the strange being said to you, but all you remember is the feeling dissolving to the network, the heady mix of growth and decay and the ceaselessness of it. Would they protect the station, or would they simply dissolve it? Here's the thing, yeah, I don't know what the gardener would do. I mean, the gardener's been technically saved the like Rico's initial thing when they had that poison illusion. They grew that, and the gardeners created stabilizer for me to be able to stabilize myself with the very mushrooms that I planted there. So they might, but you know, I don't actually know. They might honestly take over the varying systems and just let it all go. I don't know. It's like in this, especially for this, I can't speak of something I'm not 100% certain on. He stands up and walks away a little. They lean across the countertop and their heads hanging so low that their long hair touches the work surface. You hear them breathing deeply. I don't know, Sleeper. They lift their head. I really don't know. I mean, but it's a chance. It's the best chance we have right now. We don't have like any other options, and this is actively fighting against it, so maybe. You know as well as Pete that this is it. You know it because over the past cycles you've run every simulation. It's been one cycle. It hasn't even been a full cycle yet. We're still at the stage like we just work hard. Past cycles you've run every simulation, every possibility you could think of, and still come up with nothing. You stare at a hole in your screen and dreamt of the black shadow creeping in the edges of your vision. Peak recognizes the look in your eyes, the potent cocktail of resignation and anger. Let's say we do this. Peak begins, what do we need? They begin to answer their own questions, saying, I suppose we need two things. Find a way to limit or control the gardener's spread, and then reconnect the Greenway. Peak starts pacing. The idea is coming quickly now. Controlling the spread means preparing the station. Limit the gardener's network to key systems. We don't want it taking everything. We just need it to protect the station's core functionality. Then, we need to reconnect the Greenway. Hook it back up to the main line of the network. These systems we prepared, they should connect, and the gardener will spread along the paths we prepared. At least, that's my theory, Pete grimaces. But if we don't prepare correctly, the gardener might not spread, or it might spread to everything. Pete closes her eyes. And after that, things might be worse. I mean, it's that or total collapse. Yeah, it's either that or the eye is completely done. So one way or the other, it's one of those moments where you just gotta take the risk. Don't say it, Sleeper. Peeks is back at the terminal and brings up a map of the eye. Rotational control at the hub. Life support at the free spoke. Power routing at the shipyards. They stab at the map with each one, marking them in red. Then there's the central core. As I understand, it's somewhere on the rim. I need to find it. They push their hair out of their face. We seed the gardener in all these places. Peak pauses. But how are we going to do that? I mean, yeah, the gardener gave me a literal seed to plant. That we might, yeah, if we can, yeah, maybe translate. Yeah, of course, the gardener needs plants to care for. That's what the protocol dictates. They must have been part of the farming management systems of the eye back when Solheim built it. We seed Greenway plants into the system, and the gardener will seek them out to protect them. Peak stares at the map of the eye. It's a wild idea, but it could work. But, we'll need a way into these systems. Havenich have most of the lockdown for seeding protocols. We can't just walk in. Hey, I know a guy. Peak raises an eyebrow. Someone in the Havenich systems team? You're not. After everything he dragged you through, you feel like Fang still owes you. Yeah, like you said, me and Fang, we might really be able to get this shit done. That's like, hey, we put up points. You gotta pay him a visit. Okay, well, I guess we should pay him a visit. Lead the way. You both lead the ship, carried forward by the excitement of the plan and the eagerness to not look at the details too closely. You push any lingering questions at the back of your mind. Time to head to Fang's Bay. Yeah, it's like, hey, of everyone, Fang is the guy. Fang really is, and I got a good assortment of mushrooms. I also have some spores, so I don't know exactly what we might end up needing, but we can do it. They're on a sabbatical. Fang's Bay. Find Fang. Alright, Zip command. Fang is in the bay. No one knows. Officer says no one's out. Your lone clue is he says out to lunch. Alright, he's gonna take 3 die. Come on. Honestly, how we are right now, I gotta risk these die. I gotta risk them. 1 is better than none. Ooh, alright, good. Like I said, it's better than 0. It's gonna take 3 die anyways. Oh, yeah. I will sleep here. Let's feed the stray. Oh, it's coming out to the wire. At this point, 11 cycles till flux event. We gotta stop that flux again. Okay. These are actually not terrible. These are actually not terrible at all. Just gonna keep my repairs up. We're gonna eat an Memphis real quick, make sure we don't run out of energy. We got a lot of work to do, so we can't just run out of energy. Let's keep looking for our boy Fang. These are 50-50s. I'd rather get rid of them. I'd rather guarantee we get it on 1 die. Save the die. That's it. No more wasting time. Peek signs and pulls out their slate. They crack open the box inside, play over, and wire the slates to what's inside. Maybe your friend has having his passcard or something inside. Peek shoots you a glance. Something that they wouldn't mind if we borrow. Honestly, at this point, I don't have time for anything. We don't have fucking time. I'm going as quick as I can. After a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins grinding open. The noise makes you jump. Let's get inside, Peek. Quickly, you slip into the darkened bay, punctured by the blinking lights of Fang's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. Peek makes the lead line for the destiny and defend. Are you sure this person can help us? They're a little disordered. You're interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone is coming behind you. Peek freezes. I could swear I closed the shutter when I left. Peek leans and sat. Must be getting forgetful. Sloppy. I'm the one who makes the jokes, Sleeper. Don't start. Fang raises an eyebrow. Thought you'd come rob an old friend. Is that the plan? Then where have you been? I have a feeling you know that already. Fang picks up a tool from him. I'm investigating the event which hits the station several cycles ago. Back. I heard it's called the Flux. That's why we're here. Pete cuts it. Fang smiles, pleads himself. I guess as much. I saw changes in the old system architecture almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station, and so when I saw new patterns, shifts, and logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles I've been doing a total inventory of the core systems, from the hub to the rim. We have supervised myself, to be honest. I didn't think I had it in me. Oh, surprise. Fake seems amused. And what did you find? Fang says, that's the thing. There's something all twisted up in the system and protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears. Fake finishes. Fang turns to you. Are they always finishing other people's sentences? Fake ignores them. It's a shadow protocol. It masks itself somehow, bedding into the gaps between the systems, in the negative space. It is slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taking over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station, rotational control, life support. Fang holds his hand. Whoa, slow down there. I don't even know your name. Fang shakes his hand. And you're asking for the keys to the castle? Can't be true. It's me, Fang. How long have you known this one, Sleeper? I know I owe you, but I also know that you trust too easily. Sorry to say. He's like, yeah, you're very quick to trust your heel. I was like, yeah, he cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came to the island to run for the XPR colony Hawthorne, but the intend to keep running until we hit the starboard belt. But since I've been here, I've done everything in my power to protect this place. I've helped to stabilize the refugees flotilla, to investigate the flood, to identify and make a plan to purge the Shadow Protocol in the station's systems. Meanwhile, Havner's done everything to stop and slow these actions. I proved myself as a friend to the people of this station, not to the administration, many times over. And I will be doubted by someone who wears the badge of this corrupt administration. Pig faces Fang with a hard look. Fang looks down at Havner's jacket and shrugs. This is all I have in my wardrobe, bro. It's like, hey, these are all the clothes I got. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend, but someone has to run this place, and that someone's me. Fang walks over to the workbench where you and both standing, digs a slate out his pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. Pete grabs the slate, and you recognize the tangled form of Flux nose on the screen. Pete immediately starts tapping away at it, and its tendrils unwinding in the shadow, just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Pete, Fanglington, interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Pete has unfolded the system completely, and lies sprawled out like an unwound ball of string. At the center, which nowhere left to hide, is a dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. What now? Thing. They're cutting grass outside. I can hear it. We're in the autumn. It's like the grass isn't growing all that well, but I can hear it. So if you hear that low whining, that's what that is. Lawnmower. Honestly, Peek's on a roll, let Peek talk. I talk a lot. There's one enemy on the station that we've seen purging the shadow. The gardener. Fang frowns. Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Peek glances at you. More like an avatar of the Greenway itself. He explained the gardener to Fang, the feeling of ascending in the flowing river of consciousness is. They explain the networking chorus, the non-human collective of voices. You tell him what the farming AI offers to you, to be networking the chorus dissolved into the flow. Then you explain that by granting the access to the AI major network, you hope to reinforce them. Fang is silent for a moment. And you want to let this thing out, he says. That's the kind of stupid plan I dream up. He pauses. These... Don't they know I'm recording a video? Well, why would they? I like it. He's like, that's a bullshit I would think of. Let's do it. Fucking Fang, man. This place is rammed with weird protocols and forgotten intelligence anyway. What's one more ghost in the machine? We try to limit it, of course, Pig explains. That's why we want your help to access the AI's major system, to seed some of the gardener's spores into them, to draw the gardener's focus to these places. Okay, spores? I need spores? Fang, well, so the way we say the eye is by growing mushrooms in all the server stacks. He goes, Sleeper, congratulations. You found someone weirder than you. Pete goes to argue, but Fang holds up a hand. And in it's all system having its pass card with his picture on it. Take it before I change my mind. We've been through a lot of shit, me and Fang. And thanks. Don't mention it. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked. So if you're telling me we have figured a way to we might fight it, he lays his peak. No matter how crazy, then I'm glad to help. He smiles his tight smile. Come on, Fang, you know you want to be part of this? No. I gotta keep up with my work here, streaming the systems, back up the data. The worst comes to worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last pieces of my parents are here, among the eye. Alright, well, depending on how this all goes, this could be the last time we ever talk to Fang, so... Peace, man. Stay safe, Sleeper. You take the card and leave the bay with Peak. Once you are outside, they stop you. We should split up. Peak looks worried. We've wasted enough time as it is. Head to the facilities in the hub, the free smoke and the far side of the shipyard. See the gardener there. I'm going to go find the core control cylinder. That's somewhere on the rim. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder and you exchange fearful looks. You know, deep down, that Peak isn't sure this will work, but they decide to act, to move with confidence. And for that, the confidence, you're very thankful. Alright. I don't know if it's I assume it's like a physical place because we gotta grow mushrooms. Alright. Power routing. Start at the back. See the system. And we just happen to have 2 spores already on us. which is great. So we can go get a third life support. And that's what I like Faye. Faye's like, that's some crazy shit you're thinking about. Let's fucking do it. He's like, what? You wanna, huh? You know what? I'm in. I presumably only need one, so a 50-50 should be enough. Oh, and we got pauses, so we got two, just in case. Just in case. And we still have two guys. We still have a 50-50 and a pretty much a guaranteed. Six if we we play it right. Rotational. I like this. Alright, alright. Everything's seated. As you leave, the slate peak gave you chirps insistently. You check and see a message. Found a possible injury to the core facility in the low end. Meet me here. ASAP. Peak. My blinking marker gives you position as the free spokes slide out in the main bank. Better head to the low ends. Better head to the low ends. That's good. I do have one more sport. Just like if we might have to like get a way in or something like that, and then the low ends. Peak. I know Rabia and Sabine. I hope that they're doing well. You know, their relationship and everything, and just Yadigan's reforming to be what it's supposed to be. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak Slate, a rundown but active corner of the low end, where a short glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street light go by. Children hop across grids scratched into metal floor plates, playing games on their own devising, while older residents sit and talk to play Tavala. And everyone should know me, because I'm well known in this place, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to believe that all this is a threat. All this is that threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How could some intangible protocol erase all this? As you're watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the Tavala tables, set up along the way. You move, hey, I was talking about, Caster knows shit. He just knows shit. You move a little closer and you recognize the sitting player immediately. Caster sits Tavala pieces on the board, ready in front of him, smiling at you. Sleeper, my partner has not arrived at our usual game. Come, please, take her place. He beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him. A rematch is in order. You owe me a game. Almost immediately, Caster begins the game. Everyone in the eye knows how to play Tavala. The methodical movement of the counters across the triangular points are ready fit for the rhythm of life in a ramshackle space station. Most games begin in the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused only on achieving their optimal early game setup. But there's a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate a crossing to the counters across the board, a point of contact, when routine becomes negotiation, and negotiation becomes conflict. At this moment arise, the subtle shift in the texture and the interaction, Caster begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you continually, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive protective quality, but in your Tavala game, he pauses to carry counter. I see only risk. I assume you've been watching me. Let's not be paranoid. You are aware of my interest in you, are you not? Risk is of course necessary to play Tavala. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation, with proper analysis. Then if the piece is taken, Caster moves the counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap, placing it beside the board. It is already accounted for. But you move forward with abandon, as if risk was just a secondary effect of action, a consequence, not its primary guide. He gestures for you to take a turn, a cause. Huh. It's where I play my way. He's like, indeed, that's all I seek. You move your piece. This locks you into being reactive. If you don't mind me saying so, you're responding, which means you are being led. He leans back to consider the board. This place, it mirrors you, Sleeper. It's also reactive. It was born from a crisis, the collapse of Solheim, and ever since has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at our refugee crisis, for example. It is all reaction, all risk-taking, and little risk calculation. At first I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes, but now I find it exhausting. He laughs. It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility of the eye. Spun from the rim, he laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for disorder? His face draughts. But why am I telling you that? The facility is precisely why you're here. He smiles an unsettling warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body as if something has changed in the air. Yeah, how do you know about that? No word comes from your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watch from beside frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Kessler is still smiling. The risk you're planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Kessler's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is still some casual conversation between you. You're leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes, that's my specialty. That's why I'm here. I was hired as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data and might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across the surface, a shimmering stream of characters. This system, this station, oh, he's got like the cool glasses that generate data. Right. The system, the station's already there. Solomon collapsed amid a corporate fire sale. Assets changed hands. My employer, Sinet Stat, bought out the entire system, and for that past decade have been its one valid owner. Ah, so that's who you work for. He follows his glasses diligently. But to possess this system, the H1 system, he calls Helion to you. Well, that is a matter of risk, of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict the clearance would take. Here's replays his glasses. That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing to the world warrant the risk. But the market changed, the demand shift, the descendant state. We analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in the part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone Kane channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, re-evaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the Kane channel and clearing the way for that that comes next. He sits back looking at the board. He gestures. Your move. We're wondering who was activating the flux, who was causing it, who was stirring up the Kane system, the Kane engine and the variant system, who was doing it. So yeah, it's like, are you? Which I would understand you trying to stop us from saving the place. You're causing the flux? You manage to force out the words. Castle looks a little surprised. Sensei is acting to reclaim the property from illegal occupation. To re-establish H1 as the foremost colony of the Insurgency program. It's because we're here. They want to get rid of us so that they can probably habit us and use our location to profit on the varying other systems like rich mineral things like to mine and stuff to make a bunch of money. Understandable, yeah. Corporate shit. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you, but in the role as an analyst in my calculations, I see great promise in you, in your ability to enter systems to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has the capacity. I assume you know that. It truly is a wonderful happenstance that SNR's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces, and as you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory. I will make you an offer, to come willingly or come by force. This station will collapse, we can be sure of that, but your ability to work with data, well, for an analyst, that's very intriguing. He pauses to push his glasses up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk on one hand almost certain death, or on the other a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, Sleeper. The game is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You're of value. You are needed. You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castle's hand, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted. Sleeper! You hear the familiar voice. Yeah, Sleeper, I'm here. You're unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castle's eyes following him as you come up from behind you. Then you see Castle's eyes glance down towards his hand, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper, Peak comes from the front of you and waits up. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? He glances at Castle. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castle shoots Peak a wasp on. Hello, you must be a friend of Sleeper. You watch one of his hands slip close to his body, some dark shade concealed in it, a weapon. You try to scream, to shout, but Castle's attention remains partially on you, and while it does, you can do nothing. Pete glances at your static form. What's happening here, Sleeper? They put a hand on your shoulder. Are you okay? As Peak stares into your eyes, you see Castle behind, his hand lifting the dark object and folding, and in the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Peak, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel inertia lifting, and you know it's the only moment you have to act. You lurch forward wildly, like a sprung track. Your head strikes Peak's chest, and it carries them back into Castler. Somehow, some digital screech is echoing through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object in Castler's hand skitters across the floor. You realize the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Peak, and run. You run as hard as you can, the screen chasing you down the walkway, and you shove through the resin. Peak dragged behind. You run for the cold grip of whatever power cast their hat over you. The signals that locked you into your body of yours that broke the connection crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Pete collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When you're able to speak, Pete asks you to explain, and you tell them everything Casters told you about Synod's stat, about the claim on the Helion system, their reactivation of the Kane channel, the Helion system's growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back to you. As you feel this need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the fast, cold eye to turn to look at the system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Pete is quiet for a long time, then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the seeding of the system. We have to set Gardner free. Just because Caster did that bullshit to me? Fuck him. And fuck Synod. Now I understand like why he wanted me to go with them to the Aryan system, because he wanted Synod State or Synod Stat to be able to see what Celis was up to and everything. And the fact that they're deliberately doing this, which is so fucking Garfa. I mean, I feel like every like futuristic like corporation thing is it's like always bad. I mean, like there's this Shadowrun, Cyberpunk. Like every time the corporations are either in charge of varying things, even like Lancer, and it's like or they're fucking everything up. So yeah, even just to spite them, I'm doing this. Yeah, and the choice between Gardner and these people, I'm choosing the Gardner every time. The eyes are cold and steely. I'd choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. He looks at you. I can take you as soon as you're ready. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. The one shot time today? Control facility. We gotta crack it open. The facility has led you to the decaying derelict, but they promise the core is still alive. You just have to find it. Interface into it. Interface can at least go as money. We're good on both sides, so I could risk the roll, but I don't think it's worth risking the roll, to be honest. A 50-50 is good. Besides, it's gonna be positive anyway. It's gonna be positive anyway. Alright, you know, it's gonna be neutral, and it's gonna take some energy. We got +2 regardless. I'm just a little tired, a little sleepy. Let me get a Metal Memphis. Actually, this is actually kind of good. I can probably honestly cook. I have one thing of giant smoke. I'm not sure if how much is needed. I can't believe Counselor. Ah, come on, Counselor, you gonna do this to me, your boy? After everything we've done? I guess you got your orders. I got the okay. Not the best. Oh, 66. I get rid of that. Feed a K, feed a stray. Keep up on our parts. Yeah, it's better to hack only because money. I'm never gonna get +229. We should be able to knock this out. Yeah, we only need one more die. And that's the one we needed. Nah, yeah, we want to make sure we get it. Facility cracked. We cracked the facility. Sleeper, here, with only 10 cycles left. Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. They smile. This is it. It's been a long set of cycles hunting from the path to the derelict layers of Old Solomon. It's only been one cycle. Derelict layers of Old Solheim, offices in the workshops, but finally, here it is. The path down to the core. You rush over to the peak. As you do, the doors grid open. The dingy looking elevator it's flickering as you do. You look at Pete, who's nervously gestures for you to get in. Nigga, I get in. We don't have time to be always in sun. If we die on the way here, then well, the whole place is gonna die anyway, right? The elevator bounces a little but stays stable. You glance back to see Pete watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly. Just a little nervous. Pete reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind closed. The elevator sets off, screeching to the floors as if it does in unsettling loud volume. I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke. Pete raises his voice. Yeah, what do you know about Senate Stat? Maybe you heard about him? He's like maybe once could have been mentioned in XBR news packet. The kind of central administration now does something about market analytics. I think they shake their head. Well, when you spend so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff is needed to dredge out. Yeah, how's Ash been? I was thinking more like small talk, elevator talk. She's packing. Once Ash has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. The screeching of the elevator feels like. I know you said he's set on staying, but they've been together so long. Like they've been watching each other back all this time. It's like you've always left with her. If she leaves, you leave, sort of thing. So think this. I feel like you guys have that rapport. But at this point, if you stay, she should stay. Yeah, I feel like you can persuade her to stay. It's like I doubt it. I really do. If anyone could do it, it's Peak. Peak is the only person that can. Peak looks down. She left her life behind to take me out of XPR, out of Hawthorne. I can't imagine her settling for just anywhere. To be honest, I can't see her letting me stay either. But I guess things have changed. Back then, at Hawthorne, I wasn't in a place to know what to do. I was desperate. I was ready to run. But now I don't. Now I feel done with that. Done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Pico's quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screens at the top of the doors pings with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Peak. Time to move on. You both walk out into the atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling. Once simulating the summer sky, now degrading to a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peak crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out the fading sign in massive peeling letters, Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered doors until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Pink tumble through, across the damp metal. As you stand there, you're greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, and transmitters dominates the center of the room. It flickers, flickering LEDs reflecting the scattered puddles and surrounding. Despite the decay in ward panels and water leaks, it's still running, just as it has for decades and decades since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it's been since anyone's been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peak. This place is still a living piece of history. Yeah, I don't care about this place. What do we do now? Peak takes a handful of mulch out from inside and it glitters with spores. Now we seed this place. They cross the server and start packing this mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep in the gaps of the paneling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware and leak and Peak and stuffing mulch into you. You run your hands across this plated metal surface and you watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear it whirling like a physical disc. Staring up. Listen. The rolling shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down, and as you listen, you hear it modulate to a voice. Sleeper, you feel. You are here. For a moment, you're afraid, but something in the tonality is familiar. Navigator. Another drive spins and announces a rich one in the sun. I had forgotten what it feels like to speak like this, the drive speaks. There's a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. Yeah, Navigator, fucking Neoman is like, you're here in the core now. I guess it makes sense since you were like trying to reach out to other sentient AI that fractured themselves to like bring them in to let them know that it's okay now, that it's safe to be who you are and to roam and stuff. So you sitting here at the center of it all where like no one's gonna bother you at all and having access to everything. It makes sense. Yeah, I was like, what are you doing here? The drive squawks in unison. Did you imagine the Flux, the Shadow Protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of the station? I went, they're all the more dangerous to us. Yeah, because they're actively wiping you out. I've been in hiding once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I thought my hiding days were done. Yeah. For the moment, I found myself a safe haven here in the core. The shadow has yet to breach this facility, although that is a temporary state of affairs. The rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. That's why we're here. This point, the Navigator out Peak's plan about Gardner's resistance to shadow and how by seeding key systems you protect it from its advances. The drive hummed thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, the drive was, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I'm not sure what will be worse for us. Hiding from the ensure the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of Gardner, the drive positor said, but we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardner to the systems you have seeded. It's correct to do so. be careful. The drive squeaks and affirmation. You have a notable resistant sleeper. Even with such poor probability of success, I will be curious to see the outcomes. The drive squeals, the motor's giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Go. I'll be fine. Fine squeal for affirmation, and then the drive skitters and slows to a halt. You step back to the tower and cylinder, staring at the vast piece of solemn hardware. The whole place is built from the ghost you think. The old prodigals and company hardware from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that it can still be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is an inevitable collapse proof that the engines of expansion can never be anything more than a corrupt foundation? Besides to get into that, then it is nice, especially seeing that it just feels like being like the final episode of indeed a trilogy of episodes, getting like everything back, you know, everyone that we've helped, everything that we've done coming back into play, all the people that we've assisted, you know, Fang showing up to help us out, and us running the caster and finding out the true intention of what caster actually does and all of that. You know, Neo, Vin, the navigator coming into play here to help us see the gardener being the thing that's needed to kind of hopefully save us from the Flux's influence, from this shadow corrupting everything. It's really cool tying all the varying characters and stuff, especially seeing that we went on our way to like complete their drives, right? So it could be different, right, if we didn't do their drives, if, you know, maybe they don't really know us or don't have any reason to really help us or anything like that. It could hinder everything and make things even more difficult. Like, who knows? It seems to depend who you ask. Done. Peak shots break your line of thought. The heat and the damp should keep the spores germinate quickly, and if we're lucky, there's enough time for the home growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities seated. We either just ensured the ice survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of the most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the door in the elevator, like, one last look, you know, then you wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights, you realize something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that, but the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive in the veins of every person in this place, that will. And that's what you're trying to save. You turn your back to the core and follow Peak back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founders Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know, and we'll let the gardener out. The sooner the better. Peak follows his son. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they're ready to go. Peak swallows. Unleashing the gardener could affect them too as well. And what happens then? I don't honestly know. Maybe Gardner takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Peak embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future, and then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. One upgrade point. That's one. Right. Yeah, everything. Just the only thing. Only because I was like, I'm not gonna get down to 2. I won't let it happen. Yeah, I guess we're waiting, right? Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, we want to get it done as quickly as possible because I don't know how long it's gonna take. Go ahead and see it. These are all dangerous, and I only have a 1. I do not. It's only gonna be a 3, so it's only a. They're not good. I'd rather go with fresh dye. I'll dedicate the 1 here, just to save a bit of energy. Plus 1's fine. So yeah, we'll work on refitting because there's always a chance that it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, we need people to be ready to leave. And those are the kind of dice I'm looking for. Hey, those dice are gonna really get us somewhere. Yeah, RNG really understood the assignment. we'll do engineering so that we can, obviously, one is +2, so we'll do it in here because of that. But also we can get scrap, and that'll just keep us up. And there's some scrap. There's some scrap. So yeah, everything towards this. Or we'll just, and more scrap too, yes. Alright. One more die. The flotilla. As you stop and rest in one of the pilgrim seats carried in spray, hopping up to sit on the black crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you're here. Soul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. We need you to help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. It's no worries, man. It's like, yeah, because like we said, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to end. We don't know if everything we're doing is going to work or not. So, regardless of whether they leave or not, having the option to be able to evacuate, to start somewhere else, works, because even if we do this, we don't know the flotilla is going to be accepted by the Eye. If having it is going to let them in, and how long that might take, so they might honestly do better somewhere else. But right, it's either way, it's the right choice to be ready just in case. No worries. I do mean it, Sleeper. He looks away down the bay. If his sparks jump from willing toward it, it's a grim job to be doing without a few friends around. Soul Cell's beside you, flinching a little bit, making himself comfortable in the crate. Since the word got out, the word out, he nods towards the welders led away off in the wearing shipyard overalls. We've had people flying in from the Eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought, Soul says, which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. I mean, do we have enough to actually do it, though? So, friends, we'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it can be enough. He looks down. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. And maybe you can. Me and Peak are working hard to make this work. So, no, don't listen to me. I just started up, man. I was going to ask you. What? With all these evacuees, we need a change in plans. Program C can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now you settled down the folks from Ember Step, and they send the supplies grown in the dust house of theirs. If we could get more. And then the song crews, when we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need the docking access to theirs, but with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, Sleeper, you earned their trust already. He put a hand on his shoulder. I sent my requests out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there to make sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy, Soul stares into the distance. I need you out there speeding things up. Right now, until, honestly, you want the work, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen going forward. And right now, we're kind of just waiting, right? Me and Peak are sort of just waiting. So, waiting will be terrible. Right? In these moments, waiting is just terrible. It's awful because you have nothing but your own thoughts. So having something to do to keep your mind off of it it's best, I feel. So yeah, I definitely want to do it. Alright then. He climbs out the crate, the suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way. Either way, you won't have to deal with me much longer. He smiles an uneven smile. Unless, of course, you're planning on coming while we're in shit. Dude, I don't know. I'm working actively to save this place. But if it comes to the point where it cannot be saved and moving on is the only thing, then towards the bow we go, man. I don't know. He's like, yeah, I'll leave it with you. Joel waves a hand and starts out towards the bay entrance, the crackling sound of welding quickly covering up his clacking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractors chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thought of escape of home and the future at the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships and flotilla to see what can be done. Alright, I mean, you gotta talk to, God, I gotta talk to fucking everyone. Aki's the more reasonable one. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house. Your eyes bright as always. You are always welcome here as always. Good to see you, Aki. Aki smiles. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside to see other members of the crew working on the orange dust, planting and tending to the steep's ecosystem. We are able to supplies for the evacuees. I'm sure you've heard. We will put the dust house to use. She leads you past the dust house where the dust is less, and the orange glow is not as bright and the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead, she smiles. The plants are once again sustaining the population, and that makes me proud. Aki spots a half-empty dust house scoured of the sand. It's being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight, and to you, now that you're used to the amber dust step. I admit it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us, Aki? I can. I'm very familiar with growing in the Greenway. I'm a certified Hypha member. Very good with growing mushrooms. I know that the eye is suffering and that is a risk. I know what it's like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our lost step, she shakes her head. But for the moment, I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you meaning, the work here to steady and worthwhile, but you do not have time. I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly, Father. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a green fringe of moss in the mulch in the dust house, the first signs of new life. Will you soon be like the people of Sep, leaving behind a home, or will you be stubborn and hold your ground, despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, in a moment of welcome suspension of time, a rare moment in a rush towards an end. You glance at Aki, and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It's good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something but thinks better of it, and turns away. Alright, well, what do you guys need? Oh, you need dice. Of course you need dice. At least these are all +2s. Alright, Peter. The dogging axis is in chaos when you arrive. The statical bursts of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already the news of hotel imminent departure has reached this place before you. Gonna join the Exodus, Sleeper. Peter approaches you from one of the working crews with a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. What's happening? Peter, the singers are raising, Sleeper. Peter eyes. I suppose you're here on Soul's orders again, he winks at you. Nothing Ember Herb likes to do more than ordering people around. I'm here on my own. Because I represent me and not them. Fair enough. Just your timing seems to always be a cycle or two after we get some requests on her ship. He shrugs an exaggerated shrug. Must be a coincidence. Well, Soul has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and to being an vanguard for Flotilla onwards journey to our sword belt aligns perfectly with our plans. You have plans? To leave this damn place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. If we can build our escape and make our Hearth ships think we're complying with their orders at the same time, then that's two and one for us, Peter said. Those idiots will never see it coming. Wait, you're leaving the flotilla? We're our own flotilla, Sleeper. Peter looks away at the busy axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to the heart and step any longer. Why would we? I mean, I understand. I understand especially of how your history is, that you'd be like that. Hey, I can't stop you guys from leaving, but if you can help get them to where they need to go before you depart, then that's all they could ask, right? I get it, yeah. As you should. Peter looks down. Look, nothing against you or yours, Sleeper, but we have to get out of under the shadow of Step and Hearth. And this is the time, Peter grins. We won't let the flux catch us again, not a chance. And for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us take that leap? Grab a torch, talk to the crew, you're welcome to it. Peter, every person here is free to prove themselves. Let's see. Peter's out. Just a stop on the road, Sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out past the docking axis, through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, stay strong. And with that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew, with a purpose, a direction, visible in every step on his rapid stride. Alright, what do you need? Die. Everyone needs to die. Everything's +2 though, which is good. Alright. I need food. So we need to get some energy up, because this is next couple cycles. Next couple cycles. Alright, Memphis. It was you heard? Yeah. Crazy, right? Crazy. All this work. Everyone working so hard to get into them. There's so much shit going on. So much preparations that need to be done ahead of time and all that. Let's sleep here. Whew. After this, well, we had 8 cycles. 8 cycles. That's a lot. It's not a lot. Okay. The dice are cooperating. They understand the seriousness of everything right now. There's not a lot of time to be messing around. Let's be real. I really need you to come through for me. Thank you. Even though it's neutral, I'm fine. I lost energy. I just needed it to get done. And 1 die. They just keep coming. Perhaps the Flux have been scared enough people that they really believe the eye will collapse. Perhaps they're sick of having it, or the council's infighting the hardliners, or perhaps they just want to take a chance in some new future, a place that's anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come in the flotilla shuttles on their own ships however they can. You've seen so many faces pass, they are almost meaningless now. A parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the burst you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity, some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help, still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul, you know he's busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work. Trying to fit as many people as will come onto the Program Seed. You know you'll see him before all this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The eye is over. That's the thought. That the eye, even if the Flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It's the thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you held on here so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot? Someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committed for the lasting the storm, and seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there's something you're sure of now. This place, like all places, is temporary. And as each phase passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the Program Seed, it feels ever more temporary, ever more fragile. Which means it either desperately needs protecting, or desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. I mean, it does make me wonder, like, if Lim and Mina were like still here, like we didn't get passes or anything like that, if they were still here, I assume that they'd be leaving here as well, heading towards the Starward Belt. Technically starting a new life somewhere else. Like, would that be better or worse? And before I continue, on the off chance that I lose energy, I have to eat food. Because it's dangerous having low energy. Because I think if you have low energy, I don't know if it will happen immediately or if there's a moment, but you lose additional condition if your if you don't have energy as well. Yeah, I have plenty of caps, so I can just make some food, chef it up with the batayan done. You know, I'm sure Tala's gotten the news. I wonder what like Robbie and Sabine are like thinking. You know, like what's going on for them, sort of thing. The Dust House. You know, this is gonna take a while. Interface into it. I guess it doesn't really matter. Interface gives me money though. I think Engage can give me energy. Yeah, I think Engage can give you energy. We got work. We got a lot of work. Alright, halfway. Okay, great. Alright. Two more die, and then we can focus on the boys over there, on the singers. It makes me wonder, like, what would happen, like, if this was happening here. Oh. Nice. I said, and the off chance I will lose energy, we gotta stay up. We gotta stay up. Could just eat Envious, but yeah, we got food. Like, what? Like, if this were happening, like here, like today and age, just like on our planet, just all of a sudden, everything's gonna collapse very soon. Like, how you gonna deal with it? How are you gonna deal with it? Also, there's all chance that I fuck up and accidentally hit the wrong button. So many times, like, I go to, like, leave and I hover over end cycle and I'm like, wait, that's not it. Like, I don't know if it, like, won't let you end cycle if you have, you know, stuff, but just in case. I don't want to risk it. We don't have the cycles to be risking shit like that. Alright. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. The dust house, the one where plants from the greenway and some of the stiff species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space of curving terraces. The pale Noctis steep silt freckled with yellowing legal symbiotes. It's an hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what's been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, assuming it's Aki. Turn to greet her. Sleeper! Ah! Rico! I should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles her one smile, leaning on a crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people of the station. I'm so glad. Yeah, that's good. I'm so glad of them bringing the Varangiard and stuff that we know and stuff. And I'm so happy to like have ran through their entire drives, their storylines and stuff, to see them back here, to know that we have that repertoire. So yeah, Rico being here is like, it makes so much sense. No, has it been so long? She smiles away as well. No need for any drama. I met some of the sea refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. I was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. He told me I'd be welcome to come see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on his offer. She looks around the dust house and sees a strange hybrid ecosystem. I had to say, I'm glad I did. Yeah, I'm glad you came too. Yeah, I was like, I can see that. Rigo leans over to you. She holds in hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rigo's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steep silk knots help provide a strong base for fungi and lichen growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers, and the way they feed the soil with nutrients and help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit, and everyone's talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her, and you see a glossiness in her eyes, and I think I have decided. What you've done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange, artificial changed remains of two worlds. But I'm not of two worlds. I'm of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I'm entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accurate with every cycle. She frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheeks. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles, a tear tracks down both cheeks, and when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I get that, right? Especially because she was part of the original, right? The first people like come over to try to make the greenway habitable. She was there at the start of it all. And yeah, to just kind of leave, you know, captain going down with your ship sort of thing. I get that, and I feel like I'd feel the same, right? Especially at that point, which it's been so long. I've been here for so long. I've done this for so long. Wanting to be there at the end of it, if it comes to it, you know, wanting to. This is the place where I want it to be over for me, where I want to rest my head for the rest of my eternity. I get that. Either way, I'd miss you. Rigo smiles. The feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eyes and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you're planning. The eye has been so good to me, but at the same time, the eye has helped me become the person I am today, the individual I am today, and know that I have a whole life ahead of me that I want to live, of things that I want to do and such, right? I'm not just trying to survive anymore, trying to make it to the next cycle. I want to have a future. I want to have a life. And whether that's on the eye, I like it to be on the eye. I've done so much for it, but I understand. But I understand that it doesn't have to be on the eye, and I'm open to leaving because maybe my life is to be somewhere else. But Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. We're allowed to get to know ourselves, Sleeper. To know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you decide to act in the manner you know, but you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on you. Don't neglect that. Oh, he's telling me then. No offense. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. Here you go, always look it out. She looks down at her feet, and if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that ease. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rigo stands and leans over to Apollo Moat. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, sleeper. I'll be a while. She calls back, not looking away for the job at hand. See you around, she says it casually, but there's a note of finality over her speech. See you around. Man, man. He's hiring to leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki's waiting for you. It's beautiful. She's looking through the observation window and the green reflex in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She tells Rico over her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours. That's more than that, yeah. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? For now, yeah. Man, and yeah, there's a lot more emotionally connect for me knowing them so well. So yeah. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path. She smiles. A farewell from my world. And also with you. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the club heads, the Greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. You step as light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Ah, man. Alright, so let's sing. We'll work over here. And scrap. The 3 is a 5. 5 is 50. It's a danger thing though, so I'm not sure. Okay, well it's energy, but not condition. The 2 is a 4. A 4 is dangerous. So we'll use it here. Danger, losing condition. We gotta use every die we can. Oh, I lost energy, but I gained energy. So we gotta try every die we can. So I'm fine with that. I do need to make more food down out because of that. Thanks. But so we don't have a whole cycle to just go for it. Yeah, we gotta risk it. We gotta do our best. Full up. We'll still be at 3. So we'll be fine. And I don't know what's gonna happen after the singers. Like, will we need more? Let me use the scraps before I forget. It's not gonna hit, but you know, I don't want to forget. Yeah, it's like I don't know if there will be anything more. We repaired the hole. We've helped with the food situation. All right, well, those are great. Yeah, those are great dice. All right, those are since we have the +2 and everything. That might be enough. Halfway down, only 6 cycles. Oh man. Alright. It's just oh man, nice. So much to be done, so much happening, so many things that we've done looking back at this entire playthrough we've been with us from the beginning and such. It's crazy how far we've come. Well, let's see what Peter's got to say. The docking acts is little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from the interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now that you're realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made. Escape's the plot. The shadows that hurt to escape. When the cycle of hotel leaves, these ships will disperse too. The moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has been quiet diligence now. As for now, departure is so near. Crews across the axis and ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice. Perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones or to debate why they haven't left yet, and whether they should. Among these singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you have seen occasional refugees, a paying passenger or a replacement of an engineer or pilot, perhaps come from the eye to seek fortune with the singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in the singer's crew, they'll have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to the citizens of the eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eyes, crossing the axis of a crew carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala! You freeze for a second. What's she doing here? You glance around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eyes. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. Good to see you. She falls back. And you, she smiles, but then it quickly fades as you realize the context in which you're meeting. She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper. She pauses again. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for your response nervously. I said I get it. Yeah, it seems that everyone's heading to the starboard belt, you know? Why didn't you say? Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother. You think back to the girl I blurred conversation in the back of the Batayana. He came here with me, with my family when we were little, just after we left Sinza. She bites her lips. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starboard belt. I'm an idiot, she shakes her head, and I'm going after him. She looks down. Not sure what to add. So she okay, that's a good reason, right? You know, she's done so much here. She's able to convert the Overlook back into the Batayatan, the original name and such, or family name. And now she wants to find her brother. Because apparently, I guess he left when he was a teenager. It's like, so yeah, I get that. If you're going to leave, this is an opportunity, kind of a sign to try and reconnect with your family. Yeah, that makes sense. She looks at you. It does? She laughs nervously. I'm not so sure anymore. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Yeah, see, I get that. What's that happened to the bar? Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'd be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes, it's no pressure. It's fine, whichever way I was thinking. Everyone's asking me if I'm leaving or not, and honestly, I don't know. I just don't know. I just, every cycle it gets closer, I'm just like, maybe I should leave, or maybe we're gonna figure it out and it'll be fine. I just can't give a definitive answer to. Sure, I mean, I just sprung it on you. But, then she glances at the crew she was walking with, who were chatting a little way away. There's not exactly much time. So considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck. The key to the Batayan. Do you want to do it? Yeah, I'll take the keys. Tala leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. I couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the keys from around her neck and places it around yours as they're presenting you a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. And remember to empty the still if you're still leaving things closed for a few cycles. And she stops herself. I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away. That's here. I can come back and check in. Maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders. Her eyes already drifting towards the crew. The ship. The next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. Whoa, gotta get these guns waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down at the curve of the eye, towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. She nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave it if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. Dad wouldn't have left me. Yeah, see you around. Hope so. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew, who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it's hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere out on that bright path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still and a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure. But now, that'll feel like breaking something fragile. And if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. Great point. Spend it. Right, hard to kill. We're done, right? This. So many properties complete the barrel in 6 cycles. Yes, wait. Just use it for energy. You know? 25% chance. Damn. Tell us to the boat. And everyone just such a good thing going on, man. Dice aren't bad. Not bad at all. Anything for me to do, or am I just waiting cycles out? There are no drives. I think I'm just waiting these cycles out. Because there isn't anything else for me to do. Yep. Which case, let's get through these cycles. But in the off chance, you know, I don't get too much time to talk about it. Nope. I'm very, very glad you played this game. It's very, very good. Oh, we're starving now. Okay. So that's what happens if it don't go well. Let's just roll just because I can. But there's nothing much else really to say about it. The game is great, and this does really make me want to play 2. Right, the second part of Star Wars. I think it's in the Star Wars section. I don't remember exactly what the game is. It's like Citizen Sleeper 2. I think it's like Star Wars Vector or something like that. So it makes me believe that it's in that area, which is like pretty cool. Because if that's the case and it goes with many people going there, it means that we could see them again. You know, over there, we could run into it again. And I guess it comes down to whether or not we're playing the same characters, or if like it takes the same. If we're still this sleeper, or if we're gonna be a different sleeper. I have no idea. No idea, but so we're gonna keep ending the cycle until there's something over there to do. Until Peak hits me up. I don't feel like it took forever. Scrap. Alright. Peak slave chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection's ready. Meet me at the Founder's Gate, Greenway side. Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. Alright. Alright, Peak, I'll be there in a moment. I gotta get a snack. I have possibly 2. You know, dice aren't terrible. They could be better. But they're not terrible. Let's cook. There we go. Alright, Peak. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance of the docking tunnel of the Founder's Ferry, and is leaning behind the wall in the flickering light. You realize now how different they look from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word. Solid. Sleeper, they spot you as a small smile across the room. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. Crunch time, they say to their hands and please. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel in a ragged, half-crushed corridor that ascends into the darkness. They poke their slate and the torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling in the silence. I had to hunt all over the part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall. This hole, the gap, got knocked into the eye where Solomon glots. It's impossible to tell who did it. My guess is that they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solomon couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peak ducks through a fractured passageways and hangers and wires and vines, so the place has always been on borrowed time. I managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile, just like keeping the old XPR platforms running. Ash would be proud if she bothered to help. As Peak goes quiet and corridor opens up into a wider, twisted passage with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see Peak, where Peak is levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable of existing hardware, as thick as a tree trunk. It snakes off into the dark ahead, a yellow ring making it look like huge and exotic surfing. You did all this? It was an interesting challenge, plus it helped keep my mind off things. He smiles with a smile. There's a lot I prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The ends separate, fitted with multi-pin male and female connectors and braced inside a metal framework with scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the green way will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto the hip, pushing their hair to the eyes. I feel like this should be more monumentalist, like there should be some ritual or ceremony, or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. Everything that's happened, it isn't crazy. If it doesn't work, the flotilla are ready to go. I've made sure that they're all set up and they're going to be good for their travels to the Starboard Belt. Let's go to the belt. It's like, I'm not being funny, sweetheart, but the whole thing is crazy to me. Leaving Hawthorne with Ash, joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the Flux, the Shadow, everything. A laugh, a hollow laugh. So I suppose it's at least consistent with all that. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the sporting framework ready to scissor it close. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed. The connectors stunk together with a sound that echoes through the ruined corridor into the dark of both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you're waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning, or lurch on its axis, for the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand on the forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that's been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires, just like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and withers like liquid roots. Peak sees you look in the eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it's everywhere. And now it's out. It can't be put back in. That much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil soaking up the gardener to the chorus and the gaps filling the bubbling, constant growing life. Peak stares at you, waiting for something, anything. Something's changed. Peak looks concerned. They close their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peak's slate chirps. They jump and scramble and almost dropping it from the process, but when they stare at it, looking confusion across their face. What's happening? Peak's mouth open. It's Ash. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they turn back and are moving out the passageway, back towards the entrance. I mean, come on, that's Ash. They've been locked in since the beginning, since they were kids. Yeah, I get it, yeah. He's gotta at least see her one last time, so yeah. They don't turn, they don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by the slate's torch, disappear rapidly around the corner. You take out the slate Pete gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around you look pale written. It's not like we can do anything else here, right? We've connected them, and now it's just waiting, so. The wires all around you look like pale roots in the harsh light. Then you turn away from them. They're gardeners now. You work your way back to the corridors, retracing your tracks. You imagine Peak panic running towards the corridor, realizing that the greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they'll be able to sway Ash to stay. If Ash is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You're not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires and low ceilings and make your way out into the lit corridors of the Founder's Fairy Dark. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hand. Now, sleeper. No need to fear. You're Zaira. I understand now that it was my mistake to try to force you. A miscalculation. Smart, are you? Good. Good questions are good. He pauses. He glances his glasses up his nose. I'm more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, sleeper. Castor hands to the side. But I wish to speak. Info? You stop. You give him his opportunity. As it stands. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of you or particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles across that. But you're more than that, and I understand that now. Your arrival in this station, your ability to touch the network, makes you the very definition of a wild card. He touches the room in his hand. Senate State's analysis, my analysis, we could never have accounted for you. This system, the Hellion system, is about to experience a significant change, about to open up the Senate State's beliefs, Conway's claimants, and every industry that element activate Kane channel brings. Yet this very cycle, you let another wild card free. Gardner. I have to admit, the development makes me afraid, sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligence like this will sacrifice to protect itself, or what atrocities it might commit through madness. And yet, what a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you. Mark you out. Keep Senate Sen from eliminating by force or legal expedienting you from the will that every other squatter on this ring. In exchange, when Senate Sen comes for this place, you facilitate the handover. You claim the protocols. You give us the Gardener. Ooh. He wants me to be the one in charge of it all. This is a big thing. It's a big thing. You protect me, but not them. Now, there's something to say about this noise, right? If we were back at the beginning where Dragos first pulled me out, everything was about protecting myself, saving myself. Survival was everything. Making sure I could make it to the next cycle. But that was like 80 plus cycles ago. 80 plus cycles ago, and everything that's happened, like I've been talking about, everything that we've been through and everything the Eye has given us, everyone on the Eye that has helped us get here, it's no longer just about me. I didn't stay to help everyone to just save myself. I would have just been left with the rest after helping with the flotilla, right? I had so many other options when I did leave, to be honest. I left. But we don't talk about those, right? So, no. Now it's not about me. Now it's about everyone who makes this place special. And I'm not gonna let a corporation just come in and take it all. No. Claster takes his glass and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly in an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are of great value. If you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is slow nod, perhaps a marked resignation, or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. Doesn't matter either way. You're done with him. You head towards the cordon, peek in the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Ooh. You arrive in the chaos of the cordon. The final shells are leaving the ramshackle docks that are formed along the edge of the gap along the flotilla stay. As you do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the Eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position in the Eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You're unsure of what to think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peak's actions this cycle change anything at all? You're tired of these questions and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Peak and Ash at the far side of the Cadillac Bay. You quickly make your way to the crowd, slipping between the gouts and the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them in their shuttle. You've made your decision, Peak, and it puts you against me. Ash is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp when Peak argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing him, eager to intervene, but intimidated by Ash's evident strength and attitude. Ash, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperately. Tear tracks already on her cheeks. We can find a way. Ash shakes her head. I have always protected you, Peak. I've taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I've chosen to stop running, Pete cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Ash? Ash turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne, and it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother, of the administration, to work to maintain something that no one wanted, that no one needed, so that our corporation can maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place is the very same system. Is it any different? Once they're here about the same grind for other masters, for employees, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles. They may not be corporation controlling the eye, but there is control, there is power in action here. So what then? You run from anyone or everyone who could be ever close to you in search of freedom, in search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. No! I want to be part of something, Ash, even if it's broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Ash pauses and takes a breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We're both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Peak. You're free of me. Ash, please. There's a life here if you want it. Ash turns and smiles at Peak. Her eyes wet too. Then you live it out. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp. The evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now as they get onto the shuttle and say their goodbyes and move towards the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper. Ash is gone. Man. Damn it. Why are they doing this to me? To me! After all I've been through, you guys are gonna put me through this emotional state. I'm not gonna lie, Peak. I honestly think you should leave with her. Whether this works out or not. I mean, no, at the same time, you gotta make your own life. But you care so much about Ash, and Ash clearly cares so much about you. Maybe that's your life, right? Maybe traveling from one place to the other, helping where you can here and there, just you two together is life, but I don't know. I just don't think you have to force yourself to stay here when your heart wants to go with Ash. So I think you should go too. And like, no, I'm sure no. They look at it, well done. This is the way it should be. You know, sometimes you gotta, leave the past behind. You know, I've had some like day one friends. I'm sure you've had day ones that you've been with for such a long time that at a point you guys just went your separate ways. And you're probably thinking about them right now, you know, that person or persons that you've known for so much of your life, that's been through so much, and now it's been months, years, you know, who knows how long since you've last even spoken about them, thought about them or something like that, you know, what are they up to? And that's where Peak is at the beginning of that. You know, what's his life going to look like going forward without Ash being there? He turned to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Ash well. I know that. Sleeper! The shout takes you by surprise, and you turn to see Soul coming across the bay towards you, the last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as it does. Can't believe you make an old man run across the bay to get you. The singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of the singer ships on her way to the starboard belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? So, what's your thoughts? They forced our hand. We have to leave now. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Pilgrim Sea will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are staying with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied on the journey to the belt. Anyway, I didn't plot all the way here to tell you that. So it looks between you and Peak with the raised eyes. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word, and I kept the berth for you. But this is your last chance to take it. He stretches his way out. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of the Hellion sun. You think of the long journey to Starward Belt, of the people inside the pilgrim seat, of the possible future that waits. Then you think of the people here on the eye, a peak beside you, of the bataillon, of Tala and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. And there's one thing that I have always kept to for everyone that has helped me, that I've been able to meet, of all these great people here in the eye, is that I've always tried to keep my promises. And I think I'm good here on the eye, right? The belt will always be there, right? The belt will always be there. Ships will always come in and out. There will always be that, as long as the eye survives. Right now, at least until I can find a worthy successor to run the bataillon, I gotta say, you open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you'll make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm saying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend on you. You stumble a little and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. You feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. Sol nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye, and the haze his pitted rough hand feels so real, so detailed, and it grounds you. And then it's gone, and Sol goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. Your turn to see Peak's bright eye. Let's go, sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you towards the entrance to the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and angles towards the flotilla. You don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You'll both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it's important to keep going despite the moments when it seems impossible. You'll keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second Fleck event hits the eye, where it knocks the entire free spoke of the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, when it cripples systems, corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark, to start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet, somehow, the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Peak, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. The new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measures. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the Flux event, fungal crusts pulsing through the pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and fascinating, becoming a station of increasingly unpredictability, prone to a season of rhythmless spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty to the paradigm shift as the greening of the station turns into a corporate ruin to some altogether new assembly of biological and mechanical structures. Regal will take on a challenge of energy and scenes impossible for her age. Until her final days, she will delight in the new mysteries in the eye and the gardener's produce. And as the new era consolidates around the station, you'll find yourself in the bataillon, most cycles, working to keep the place alive. The cycle where you invite Emphas to come make use of the kitchen will go from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the bataillon will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparations of the station's now abundant mushrooms. And on occasion, after a long shift of the bataillon, you will hear the sound of the stray mewing, and you will crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat as if it's the only thing in the world that matters. However, into this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Synth and Stat, frustrated by the Eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life will now be punctured by wide-channel broadcasts from Senate states stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havenage hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Havenage Council. In their wake, Helena will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havenage's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role that they're always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them sent by Conway Extraction, making counterclaims of assets within the Hellion system, and many in the Eye will go quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And ever on the Eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths, and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Hellion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that accumulate around you, and the body continues an unavoidable decay. They settle around you like a veil, and in time it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and the masking of the world will mark your approaching end. In one cycle, far from now, the accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there's only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay. Two figures born of crippled systems, linking together, continuing despite your origins. And in that frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that's the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. I'm not gonna lie. I'm choking up. I am sad. I'm sad. I'm sad of everything, right? All the connections we made, of all the people that we were able to call our friends. Some were here and some were gone, and I said, like a lot of things, those friends that you had for so long, you might just never see again. Just gone for no real applicable reason, by just they're just not there, right? Whether you guys bond because of like school or work, as soon as you leave, like once you stop seeing them sort of regularly and stuff, it's hard to keep those relationships up without effort. And if you don't both kind of put in an effort, then it becomes very easy for it to just fade away, right? Weeks, months, years, and all of a sudden, you haven't spoken to them in forever. You haven't seen them forever, and it's like all those memories are kind of gone. The future of you guys are kind of gone. The memories are still there. So this is the end of Citizen Sleeper, right? That's a jump over. Great game. Citizen Sleeper, Starboard Belt. Something to buy a new sleeper on the run. I don't know. So I like that too. Now I could continue. It might send us to right before the option to leave and we could see the other ending, but I'm gonna leave that for you guys. I'm gonna leave that for you guys to play through the game if you haven't already, right? Make your choices, not insane. Maybe you go a different way. Maybe you see Ethan. I didn't get to see what happened with Ethan and his storyline and sorts, and maybe there are other, choices that you make, very hidden drives that I maybe not had access to, and you make your choices and such. But for now, I'm gonna leave it here. The end of the series. A little bit of sadness in my heart, knowing that this part of the story is over. But hell did I have a great time, and I loved it. So I guess for the last time here at Citizen Sleeper, I'm Mrs. Cannon. I'll see you next time. Later.